There's tons of videos out there on installing the S&B air filter, cold air intake on the 2.8 liter Duramax. So I am not going to waste your guys' time watching another one. But what I will tell you is how long it takes me to do it. And then I'm also going to let you guys know the fuel economy changes, if any, with the new air intake. And I'm also going to give you a before and after sound difference. That, I ain't gonna lie to you, that's the reason I bought it, because I found a video that had a comparison of the sound before and after, and I like the fact that you could hear the turbo whine, and that's the reason that I got this kit. I'm not really, air filters aren't really going to do that much good on them by themselves. Now, if you go ahead and do a full exhaust, you might see a little bit of horsepower. Maybe if you might gain 1 horsepower, but I mean, that's not going to be anything you can feel. But the mile per gallon, as high as diesel is right now, it could be well worth its weight in gold, even if you can get 1 mile per gallon extra out of it. So let's get started. Alright, so I started the installation at 8:45. So it took me basically an hour and 45 minutes to do it. I took my time and didn't rush. I didn't really run into any problems other than it looks like they sent me a used air box, because in the cracks and crevices of it was some dirt that I tried to get out the best I could. Besides that, everything was pretty easy. The breather tube was a little wonky trying to get it on in the right position, and the airbox has the 2 grommets. You have studs, 2 studs coming from your inner fender that you have to take some metal grommets and push into the airbox, and they were a little bit hard to line up. The metal grommet kept coming out of one side, but besides that, it was pretty easy installation. I saw some people talk about 3 to 4 hours. It had me a little scared. And I'd also like to point out that I took out the little air box that's in the fender too. So, and my truck is a ZR2, so I had to pop off a fender flare, which, I mean, there's really only 1 bolt. And another thing, they sent an Allen wrench that's I think they said a T20 Torx, and it didn't work on my truck. It was a 15 is what I needed for the inner fender. So just to point that out. I don't know if it's a year thing, a ZR2 thing, I'm not sure. So we got it all installed, and my truck is a 2018. I tow a boat a lot, and I have 2 different trips on here. My best is 23.1, and I mean, it's got 10,000 miles on it. And this one has 33,442 miles. So I'm going to reset this one, and we'll revisit it in a week or 2 and see what kind of mileage I'm getting. See if we can get better than that 23.1. I'd also like to point out, I mean, I see people that get a lot better gas mileage out of their Duramaxes than me. I do have a ZR2, and I have bigger tires. I think my tires are 275/70s, so they're taller than factory. And I got the leveling kit and the differential drop on my truck. Not that either one of those matter, but that's what I have done in the suspension. So I'm getting a little bit worse gas mileage than I was getting when I first got it. I think with the factory tires, I was a little over 24 on average. So I lost about 1 mile per gallon with the bigger tires. And I tow a boat a lot, so that hurts me some too. But all right, we will revisit this in a week or 2, and I'll let you know how it's doing. All right, it has been a little while since I added the cold air intake, and I have put, I think, a little over 6,000 miles on the truck, and that was the one trip that I did not reset. It's still at 23.1 miles per gallon. And my second one is at 22.6. So since I've added the cold air intake, it's really gotten a little less gas mileage than I was having before. As you see, I put 6,200 miles on it since adding the air intake. So, you know, not great. I actually didn't fish much earlier, like as soon as I put this on. And then I went and bought a ski boat that was a 2-hour drive from here. And I pulled it back. And before getting the ski boat, it was actually pretty high. It was showing around 24 something miles per gallon. And ever since I towed that boat back home, it dropped down. Actually, it dropped down to like 20. And it slowly crept its way back up. But then I started fishing more with that boat. That's the main boat I fish with is a 17-foot center console boat. Not a tiny boat, but it's an aluminum boat. It's not that heavy. And it's kind of really topped out around 22.6. If I go on a fishing trip, it'll drop down to 22.4 to 22.5. So I think that's about what I'm going to get for average now. All right, so there you go. I mean, if you're looking to get one of these cold air intakes just for the thought of getting better fuel economy, you're really not. I mean, it is less than what I had before, which I put a lot of it on just me taking boats out. But I've always towed a boat since I've owned this truck. So, I mean, really, you know, I don't think my average is going to get any better. You know, if I stop fishing, you know, it would apparently get better. But I'm not going to gain an extra mile per gallon, it does not look like, or even a half mile per gallon by doing the cold air intake. And to be honest with you guys, you know, putting it on that first day or two and being able to listen and hear the turbo, like, yeah, that was cool, but it's, you know, the only really way you can hear it is to pop the hood and rev the motor up. And then going down the road, yeah, it has a noise to it, but it's more of just a vacuum leak sounding noise. Doesn't bother me. I'd hardly ever ride around not listening to the radio. I've seen a lot of people complain about how much noise you get in the cab, but how many times are you riding around with, you know, no music on? It's not like it's just a deafening sound, you know, it's just you can hear like a vacuum of the suction of the air filter. It's not like you can't talk on the phone. It's not that bad. So is it worth it? In my opinion, I would say absolutely no. I mean, unless you are going to add some more modifications, and that's kind of how I'm looking at it. One day I would love to be able to put a straight pipe on this truck. You know, if we can ever find one again in America, that's the downer to that. I don't want to spend a ton of money on just getting a catback exhaust. I feel like that's really pissing in the wind, and I don't want to do it. I said if I can get my hands on a straight pipe exhaust, I will definitely do it. Along with some other things, you know what I'm talking about, with a diesel. But anyhow, you know, if you do that, I'm sure that the two combined will help you out in the long run with horsepower and fuel economy. But just the air intake, you're not going to get any benefits out of it. Save your money and, you know, put it towards some DEF fluid, or, you know, the way diesel prices are right now, just buy you a few tanks of diesel, to be honest. And I mean, I'm not mad that I did it. I've been wanting to do it since I got the truck, and they came out with them. And of course, you know, I was really hoping a little bit more with the turbo sound, but you know, it's not worth it. You know, save your money, in my opinion. Now, if you want to go buy one, go buy one. Don't let me rain on your parade, is what I'm trying to say. But I hope this helps some people out there. You know, my channel's kind of a little bit all over the place. I haven't really been posting that much on here either. I've been so wrapped up on my boat building channel. But I thought this would be kind of neat, kind of interesting. I haven't seen anybody else do it. All of them have been about installing it and the sound. So now you know. It's not going to get you a mile and a half per gallon. At least in my case, and I don't really see how, you know, anybody else's truck is going to be that much different. Well, all right, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.